For more information on our top stories and others, just go to our website. It's channelstv.com. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. And besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature, so you can use it to share pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. Let's move over to Abuja studios, where Maupe is standing by with more stories. Hello, Maupe. Great to see you.
Hello, Melinda. It's good to see you as well. Another industrial unrest is looming over the nation's tertiary institution, with the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, that's SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU, threatening a nationwide strike. A joint action committee of both unions today directed their members to mobilize for a protest on July the 15th over what they refer to as funds mismanagement. Members have also been directed not to enroll or make monthly pension contributions to the National University Pension Company, NUPENCO.
Just when public tertiary institutions in Nigeria are trying to recover from the effect of the over 3 months of industrial action by ASU, which lasted from November last year to February this year, another strike action looms. This threat is coming from members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, SANU, and that of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU. The labor leaders at a meeting in Abuja directed their members to mobilize ahead of the nationwide protest on Monday, July the 15th, when a notice of strike will be issued to the government.
The recent sharing, allocating 80% of the money to ASU and only 20% to the 3 non-teaching staff unions is not acceptable to us. We reject in total the 20% allocated to our members. Jack has approved protests before a deadline is given to the government for a mother of all strike that will follow.
Aluta, Contiva, Aluta, Aluta, Bosa.
In a related development, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, is calling for a probe into projects awarded to tertiary institutions by TED Fund.
Our investigation so far revealed that there is a clear, unexplainable diversion of funds meant for projects on our campuses. In many places where such projects are executed, they are either substandard or clearly abandoned.
NASU, SANU and ASU have been at loggerheads after the federal government released over 20 billion naira for the university's revitalization earlier this year. If this impasse is allowed to fester, the students in tertiary institutions are the ones that may bear the brunt.
Well, to take a further look at this issue, we're now being joined on the news at 10 by the Vice President of the Senior Staff Association of Universities, Northern Region, Mr. Solomon Alpha. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Well, just 4 months after ASU suspended their strike, you are threatening another strike action over what we hear now is a sharing formula. What exactly is the bone of contention?
Yes, thank you. The sharing formula has to do with the end allowances that the federal government, that is a component of the 2009 agreement. They call that of the academic staff end academic allowance, while that of the non-teaching staff is end allowances. But in the world over, best practices and in following accounting procedures, we know that allowances are part of salaries, and salaries are never shared along union lines. It's usually shared by management or paid by management to deserving staff. But this time around, we discovered that government approved 25 billion naira as part of the payment for the end allowances to staff of universities, federal universities. And they went and shared in a very obnoxious formula of 80 for the academic staff and 20% to the non-teaching staff, comprising of 3 unions: Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational Institutions, and then the National Academic Technologists in the universities. It's too absurd. 80 for 1 union, and then 20 for 3 unions put together.
So your grouse right now is with who? The federal government or with the other
federal
union?
government? The federal government. Even if they were pushed, they allowed themselves to be used. And therefore, we have to blame them because they know what is right. And they decided to do it the other way around.
You're issuing a strike notice on Monday?
No. We are beginning a nationwide protest, beginning from our branches, then we'll proceed to the zone, and then the ground protest will be the national one that will take place in Abuja here for 3 consecutive days.
Is that so that you would issue a notice?
After that, I will now issue a strike notice. If at that point the federal government refused to accede to our protest and demands.
Have you tried to take this to the federal government first before issuing this notice?
Yes, they are aware. This is not the first time. Sometimes in 2017, there was this approval and release of 22 billion naira. 18 billion was allocated to the same members of the academic community, the academic staff, the lecturers, and only a paltry sum of 4 billion was given to the whole non-teaching staff. So this is not the first time. And they promised us then that it will never occur again. Why now?
It's a big question. We definitely will pose to the federal government.
And it's even beyond that.
And we'll see how it eventually is resolved. Well, we have to thank you for coming on the news at 10, Mr. Solomon Alpha. He is the Vice President of the Senior Staff Association of Universities in the Northern Region.
Thank you.
Now, the Governor of Ebonyi State, Mr. Dave Umahi, has applauded the outgoing Chief Judge of the state for his dedication to duty during his time in office. Governor Umahi offered his commendations at a valedictory court session of the Ebonyi Judiciary held today in honor of Justice Aloy Nwankwo, who officially left office after serving as Chief Judge for 14 years.
In the matter of this session,
born July the 14th, 1954, His Lordship, Honorable Justice Aloy Nwankwo, hails from Ezama in Eza South local government area of Ebonyi State.
I obtained my first school leaving certificate.
Justice Nwankwo got his law degree from the Obafemi Awolowo University in 1982 and was called to bar in 1983. He took the reins as Chief Justice of Ebonyi State substantially in 2005 and says he's fulfilled that the state judiciary now occupies a place of pride in Nigeria's judicial archives. He used the occasion to speak on the need for the strengthening of the judicial system.
A nation's judiciary is an institution for the protection and preservation of the nation's interests. When rule of law is made subject to national interest, the judiciary is then robbed of its vigor and value as the third arm of government.
Judiciary and on Ebonyi State.
Well-wishers at this valedictory court session say Justice Nwankwo has left an indelible mark on the state judiciary, calling his retirement the end of an era.
His Lordship made several pronouncements on crucial issues like jurisdiction, separation of powers and internal affairs of the legislature, lands, criminal jurisprudence, and other several landmark judgments and decisions on all areas of substantive and procedural law.
The governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, while congratulating the outgoing chief judge on a successful tenure, promises to continue to ensure better welfare for judicial officers.
Irrespective of the limitation of the autonomy, will we continue to be friends? Will we continue to care for the welfare of the judiciary, stepping beyond the lines of autonomy? My Lord, this edifice has been approved by the State Executive Council, henceforth to be known and called Justice Aloy and Nwankwo Auditorium. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
The outgoing Chief Judge will be handing over to Justice Anselm Mwigwe, who apparently has big shoes to fill as the state makes a drive towards youth empowerment and better access to legal representation.